Quick rant, cup of coffee, coffee with dragon, coronavirus, American, so-called American Empire, Corona Citizen Committee and the Dragon Army. Brothers and sisters, whoever listens to this, yours truly, h.a.dragan, independent artist, activist, and athlete. Today's Sunday, cup of coffee. Know that I've declared war on this virus, and this cup of coffee was dedicated to all my brothers and sisters, nurses, doctors, healthcare professionals, those ensuring that we have food, from the farmers to the truckers to the grocery store clerks. This one is for you. Do a quick meditation that this coffee I'm going to pour now is from Mother Earth, the black fertile earth. Use the water, the river, with a river such as St. Lawrence that surrounds my island, which I call Hawk Island, also known as Montreal, and other islands and other cities, such as the Rio Grande and other rivers, Danube in Europe, the rivers of Africa, Nile. Take the light of the sun, and mysterious scientific processes made it coffee bean. First and foremost, I want to state on record that I do not believe in conspiracy theories of surrounding the coronavirus, and I believe that some are very dangerous. First and foremost, I do believe that the transmission of the coronavirus was transmitted from snakes to humans. But I really don't know, my brothers and sisters, I really don't know. I do not rule out, of course, the possibility of being a man-made virus, of being even, I do not rule out of it being a man-made or a bio-weapon. The who, what, where, how is beyond my knowledge. I really don't know. And most of us really don't know. As the situation is changing and of course ongoing, we need to continue washing our hands with soap, social distance, follow the guidelines, and of course do what we can in terms of staying at home and what have you. If you have the symptoms, you need to isolate. Myself personally do not have the symptoms. Have a runny nose. It's not one of the three main symptoms as fever, coughing, or problems breathing. They are not part of it. And I want to say a quick note on the paradox of my United States brothers and sisters, of which yourself here was an American twice in past lives. Here in Canada, of course, Hawk Island, Montreal, Canada, North America, that the paradox of the American military might has come through a paradox, and that paradox is again Second World War, and as many countries, my country, of course, Canada included, is now in a financial economic emergency situation and have been using emergency acts of parliament and what have you that have not been used since World War II. Now, XYZ reasons for that, of course, one being the stock market crash, which began February 20th and is ongoing, the loss of jobs, and of course the lockdowns around the world. We're not officially in lockdown, but there's restrictions, social distancing restrictions, and penalties being enforced that are, of course, taking place in North America. The back to the paradox of the American military might. We have to go to World War II, and of course, we are at war with Corona worldwide, and of course, we have an economic, financial, commercial crisis that's been spawned, if you will, triggered parallelly to the coronavirus, and mostly, but not solely, because there was debt, both corporate and individual debt levels have reached last November record highs. Canadian debt per household Bank of Canada and other banks report in early November of 2019 have stated that it's has reached record level of I think 100, if I'm not mistaken, I have to check numbers, 156% per the debt per ratio of the household income. That is, myself have some debt. I'm living, of course, in a financial crisis as well with some debt, but do not pay a lot of interest on my debt. Well, do pay interest, but not more than 10%. So the credit cards, some of them being 15, 20, even 25%. 25% is of course a quarter of every dollar, so that can be quite stressful if you have more than 15%, more than 10%. I would even say you have to service it, service of the debt, of course. Anyways, there's a financial parallel to this, and there are solutions. We've seen the Federal Reserve, our Central Bank of Canada, lower the interest rates, which has in subsequent 2 weeks ago, my interest rate been lowered by, I believe, 1%. I have to check the exact. I think it was even about 1%, 1 point something percent. But of course, on the macro, there's a difference on every dollar. A dollar per every hundred. So that is. It all depends from where we look at it, from the individual and then from the macro, microeconomics, of course. And macroeconomics, this is both interplay of micro and macro, right? Fiscal policies, monetary policies, and the central bank policies. So back to the question of the American military might. I have to go to World War II because America, I've been lectured. I did a lecture before last year. Find it on YouTube, maybe on Coffee with Dragon and Facebook videos. It was called Unwilling Empire. And there is an unwillingness and then a willingness, but that unwillingness was triggered by a specific event, which was unwilled by one party and then willed by another party, and that's more abstract, more mystical, if you will. But World War II was ongoing. The German Nazi military empire had swept through much of Europe, of Western Europe, and say France fell in a matter of months, Poland fell in a matter of weeks, Austria was annexed by 1940. I'm speaking 1940. And of course the German Empire, Nazi, to say Nazi Empire, and of course Nazi stands for National Socialist Democratic Workers' Party, NSDAP. It was 5 letters, which stood for Nazi for short. The big official name of Hitler's party was NSDAP. In German is Nationalische Sozialistische Deutsche Arbeit Party, so something like National Socialist German Workers' Party, official name of the Nazi. The Nazi political party which won the elections in 1933 and then enabled the Enabling Act and the historical developments of Nazi into a totalitarian, racist, of course, anti-Semitic empire, and the biggest war machine that the world has ever seen up to the 1940s. And of course, parallel, there was the Japanese Empire, which has started conquering in Asia, much of China, Manchuria, and what have you. So this America's military might was, of course, sort of unwilling because in 1942, when the World War was ongoing, America was dealing still coming out of the Great Depression, right? And that started in 1929 with the Black Tuesday or October, right? In October, late October, 1929, and of course lasted more than 10 years, some say 13 years, up to 1942 when the surprise attack by the Japanese Empire occurred on America, United States of America. And that surprise attack made that American so-called giant awakened, and was the economy, trade, and commerce. A lot of it was converted to be turned into a war machine and join World War II because it was attacked by surprise by the Japanese Imperial Army on Pearl Harbor. I believe it was December 7th, 1942. I know it for sure. that it was December 1942. However, it could have been the 9th or 12th, or I believe it's December 7th, might have been 6th, but it was nonetheless December 1942 that the Japanese Imperial Army attacked Pearl Harbor, decimating Pearl Harbor. So that's America has not joined, was not at war with anybody, was more practicing isolationism, dealing with its internal economic, commercial, financial difficulties, and that event triggered the rise of the what's called by some the military industrial complex, the American Empire, if you will. So some say American Empire, whatever. To some extent, I would use it, but not that much, because of course it has been a different empire. What have you? I forgot the definition, but nonetheless, that event triggered the rise of the United States of America in the military to become the most powerful military force that the world has ever seen. Myself, of course, was an American twice in a past life, born in the United States twice. I'm asking President Trump, putting aside my ego, I do not support his policies, many of his policies, but I'm asking him to grant me immediate citizenship as well, of the United States citizenship, and to join me, my American brothers and sisters, the U.S. military with the Canadian military, to join my Citizen Corona Committee. I'm calling for security in North America, my Mexican brothers and sisters, to work together, create a volunteer integrated citizen army to secure food, housing, and transport for all, and many policies that I envision and that I've given in past lectures in my years of learning and studying and struggle with financial security, gig employment, and financial crises, and even physical illness, and depression, and what have you. Knocking it out every day, every morning when the sun rises. So we must unite across these borders now, and I'm open to worldwide, of course, universal international cooperation with our Israeli brothers and sisters, of course, and then through NATO to ally themselves with my initiative called, of course, the Dragon Army, which I call to for all military security forces to form together a public-private partnership, so that in North America first, then with our European allies in NATO and Israel, and then to our African brothers and sisters, and then whosoever willing to join us worldwide, to create a financial, social, and political system that's based on public and private partnerships to secure three elements regardless of financial status, of that I believe are the pillars of civilization and an orderly society: food, housing, and security. That are part of my Dragon Army and the Dragon Empire. Join me, become a dragon all. I love you.